This is why your hair won't grow past your shoulders while other people's hair can grow to their tailbones. It is called length retention and genetics. But first, I want to share with you my own story. So I was one of those people who thought that my hair absolutely could not grow past my shoulders. I thought that that was just the length that I was born with and that it couldn't grow past that. And so I had a relaxer since the age of 5 years old. And when I had a relaxer, my strands were like fine. They were thin when I had a relaxer, but the reality that I came to realize later was that they were just fine strands, and the relaxer made it look a lot more thinner. I had a lot of breakage, a lot of damage when I had the relaxer. So that was the state of my hair. I had a relaxer for the better part of 20 years or so. Then I went to college. When I got to college, I got really curious about my hair and about my texture. And so I decided to transition and I decided to do the big chop. And when I did my big chop, I cut my hair to about 1 inch long. I remember that day just like it was yesterday almost. It was one of the most liberating and freeing experiences of my life to see my hair, how it grew naturally from my scalp, the texture, the coils, the kinks. It was a really good experience, okay? It was a new experience, but it was an amazing experience. So during that process, I had to absolutely learn how to take care of my hair from scratch all over again because the routines, everything was different. So I had to learn just like on a whim. But then, y'all, this is where it gets crazy, right? Because I did the big chop in 2006. 3 years later in 2009, I went and got another relaxer. I know you like, what in the world? But I got another relaxer because I wanted to see what my hair would look like healthy, as like healthy hair having a relaxer, right? Because at that point I had 3 years of virgin hair. And so I was like, if I relax my hair, this is going to be the most ideal state of my hair to be, in a relaxed state. So let me see is it going to look full? Is it going to look, basically, I relaxed my hair. Okay. And the results was my hair was healthy. It was full, but that's when I really found out that I have fine strands. And fine strands for me, or for you, or if you do got fine strands, that's a genetic process, right? There's nothing you can do to change the density of the texture of your strands. Fine strands, coarse strands has to do with the texture. There's nothing you can do to change the texture of your strands. And so even though my hair was relaxed and it was healthy, it still appeared thin, right? Because it was fine. And it was probably like medium to highest density, but that was just the makeup of my hair. But immediately in that moment, when I relaxed my hair, I made the decision right away that I was like, nope, I want to go back natural because having a relaxer to me felt boring. It didn't feel unique. I felt like with my natural hair, it was more of a fingerprint and it was different. And I was like, you know what? I'm just transitioning back natural. And so I transitioned, but y'all, I made another big mistake of my life in my hair care journey. I had plans to transition for about 3 years, but in the process, I ended up putting some conditioner in my hair and sleeping in that conditioner overnight. Okay. If you know when your two textures meet, you got this, just imagine this kinky hair coming in and then the straggly straight ends just hanging off of it. Where those two meet, that's the line of demarcation. And so quite naturally at that line is going to be much more brittle. It's going to be easier to break. You really have to keep that moisturized. And so I thought that I was moisturizing my hair and doing the right routine by bagging. That's what it's called, bagging, when you sleep with the conditioner overnight. But worst mistake ever, because I woke up, my hair was a knotted, matted, bird's nest mess. It was just, I could not untangle it. It matted all at that line, and I had no other choice but to cut it. And so that's what brought about my second big chop. And from there, I've been natural ever since. And so from there, I've learned how to grow my hair. I've learned how to retain my hair, how to manage my hair, all those things. And so this is where length retention come in. Because remember I told you I never thought that my hair could grow past my shoulders. Well, now my hair is to my waist. I've grown my hair to my waist and it's been there consistently, with a few trims. But the reason why this happened, I'm going to say it wasn't because of genetics. Okay. I'll talk a little bit about terminal length later, but the reason why this happened is because I tapped into length retention. Length retention is basically when you retain all of the length that you're growing from your scalp. right? That's naturally growing from your scalp. You're retaining it, and your ends are not breaking at the same rate that it's growing. And so once I started to retain my strands, I was able to see my length. And when I saw my hair at this length, I was just like mind blown, because I never thought it was possible for me. And so when it comes to your own hair growth journey, what you're probably dealing with is not growth, so to speak, but you're dealing with lack of length retention. And this is something that anybody can do. Now, when it comes to genetics, now when you see people who have a thick, high density, luscious strands down to their tailbone, and it looks like they can do anything to their hair and it's going to continue to grow, those people usually have those strands due to genetics. And that's okay. We all have different genetics. We have high density, low density, medium density. We got different porosities. We got different textures. We have different makeup of our hair, just like, our fingerprints is all different. And I think the reason why that's so important to know is because sometimes if you're comparing your hair journey to somebody else's who genetically have thick, coarse, lush strands, then that can be a disappointment for you. But it doesn't have to be if you just appreciate what you have. And so that's the difference between length retention and genetics. Length retention means that you're retaining the utmost length that you are genetically predisposed to grow, and genetic length or genetic hair or genetic makeup is just there, genetic. You can't change it. And speaking of can't change it, growth oils, none of that. Let me tell you something about growth oils. Growth oils can help assist you with your healthy hair routine. Okay, yes. But growth oils will not grow your hair over and beyond what is already genetically intended to grow. Growth oils is not going to increase your density. It is not going to make your texture different. It is not going to make your hair grow 10 inches in a year if you are genetically terminal length intended to grow 4 or 5 inches a year. And so I think it's very important to just be educated and to know what's possible for us so that we won't kind of get sucked into things that are really not a possibility. And so this is why it's so important to learn your hair for yourself. So I'm sharing this with you for 2 reasons. Number one, you likely have not reached your full terminal length simply because you are not retaining your strands. That is the only way to truly know your maximum length, is by retaining your strands. And then secondly, no matter how healthy your healthy hair routine is, no matter what products you use, no matter whatever, holding your head upside down for 7 days, none of that matters if your hair is already genetically predisposition to do a certain thing. Having said all that, one of the things that I struggled with when it came to my healthy hair journey was dry strands. I wanted to moisturize my hair for more than a day because that helps with your length retention. And so that's why in 2018, I got in the kitchen. Well, technically I got in the kitchen to start whipping up formulas in 2017, but I started offering them to other people in 2018. And our products from the beginning has been focused on length retention because I knew then the importance of what it meant to make sure that your strands was moisturized and hydrated to prevent the breakage so that you can see your growth, aka length retention. And that's how I've been able to retain my own strands. And with our formulas, we've helped over 50,000 people around the world achieve their moisture goals, enhance their moisture levels, achieve length retention. And so if you've been struggling with maintaining your moisture levels or even your length retention, I highly recommend investing in our length retention bundle, or at the very least our sample kit, our Big Faith sample kit, which has all of our products that you can sample at a fraction of the cost. Also, if you just need some quick tips to help you on your journey, I have a complimentary healthy hair guide just for you. Just go to strandsoffaith.com, download your ebook, and that book also has some of my journey early on when I had experiences, some setbacks. So hopefully you don't have to go through the same thing, okay? Embrace your beauty, believe in you, keep the faith.